Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, effects, tutorials, demos, and review. So, this entire groove, little quick loop I made, including this part, so that entire thing was made just using the Enzo X, including, and the majority of that is actually just one of the bass synths I made. Like, the majority of that is just the bass synth. And the solo sounds came from the Enzo X as well. And not only that, the drums the drum parts came from the Enzo X as well. It's a full-featured synthesizer, and the more I learn about synth, the more I just in general learn how to use it, the more I can't stop turning it on for different stuff. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let's get started. This is a bass channel. First of all, sorry about that. First of all, then second of all, hit that like button. I definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with me and all that good stuff. Make sure you say hi, and if you got any questions, let me know. I'll be sure to try to get to them as soon as possible. All right, let's do this. We're going to switch over to the pedal board view. So we got tons of synth bass in here. We got everything from clavinet to strings to brass. I've designed so many sounds in here, even octaver stuff. Let me see. So I even got my, octave sounds in here. In addition to in here, I still love my Pog 3. And it tracks amazing. Like, the tracking is crazy for real. So if I, when I want to get to that OC2 type of sound, relatively easy, got that on deck. But we can skip forward to bass sounds. Even the other amazing thing is it automatically switches back and forth between my bass and MIDI. So when I want to do sounds like so you even got sounds like that on deck, and all this is designed in the Enzo X. Now, these are not stock presets at all. These are things that I've designed over the last about year or so of having it, and about a year of learning synth, you know what I'm saying? So that makes a huge difference in my capabilities at this point, So I'll probably actually be doing, for those of you that already have the Enzo X preset pack from me, I'll be doing an update to that pack. And if you already have the pack, you already bought it, I'll be emailing you a update to that pack where, I just improved a lot of things and improved a lot of functionality for the Enzo X and bass players. So let's get to it. There you go. We're off the back. And you get the same sound. I'm gonna have to adjust these volumes. Some loud bass sounds. And, you know, I've even managed to, something I couldn't do before, I've managed to get the keys and the bass synths, like when I play with my bass, you know, to get the MIDI and the actual tracking to sound the same. You know, something I kind of struggled with at first. So, you know, there's a ton of things you can do with this unit that, in my opinion, is hard to duplicate. And no, now let me say this: I love the Future Impact for the grimier sounds, you know, vintage Moog and ARP 2600 type sounds. But when I'm just trying to get to the new sounds, like these oscillators in here are just amazing. They sound pristine, like everything in here is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Same thing here, but like different. This is going to get you. I'll give you an example in a little bit, but you'll see what I'm talking about. But both of them are amazing, but Enzo X wins in general for me, just for the functionality of it. It even responds to your touch. So, bam, bass synths on deck. Let me go ahead and adjust some of these volumes while as I'm doing this. That's a lot better. Bam. Save. You see how easy it is to operate this thing? You don't just have these foot switches. You have these buttons here. And those are also your, you can do that or hold the foot switch down and do a quick save instead of, like, if you're not changing the name or any of that type of stuff, you can just do a quick save, right? So if I come here, say I don't want that to be so loud, I want it to be there. And I would say it even, it's the thing, one of the main things in the Enzo X, a lot of people don't understand. First of all, it has a noise gate. Like, you know, turn the noise gate on in there. It's actually really good. It helps your whole entire pedal board out. So it's not just a noise gate on when the pedal is on. It's a always on noise gate. So you can use it as, it works really well. And it's only one knob. You ain't got to figure out nothing. You just turn it on to the right percentage and you good. So with a sound like this, right, we got to get, you see how all that sub bass just came in? So one thing I will say I absolutely had wrong about the bass synth tracking is it does um it does actually like some bass frequencies in there now, and it likes, of course, it actually likes some high mids in there, a good amount of high mids, and it tracks pretty much perfectly. It needs the low mid, and then the note persist. So the note persist, and there's in the oscillator in the amp envelope section, right? You go to there. I typically set mine around 11 seconds. That generally helps me have some nice sounds. And see, your EQ really does make a difference. Articulation too. So it actually follows all of that stuff in a decent amount of time. Like, for it to be doing all of that, you know, it definitely is doing it really quickly. All right, so it's a little loud. So a quick save, bam, and the buttons just mirror what these foot switches are doing. So, you know, if I want to, instead of pressing these, if I wanted to have this like up on the table, these buttons are a little easier to press than an actual foot switch. Especially when you don't have these toppers on here. And if I wanted to shape these more, I could change the EQ settings on my Tone X1s. My Enzo X is running into the Tone X1s. So essentially, just so you know, the pedal order, this is my main board here. This board isn't even on. This is my studio board, just for, you know, I need vocoder, extra stuff. But this is my main gigging setup here, along with the 10-foot switches, the matching 10-foot switch controller for the Graviton N1, which I have down here on the floor, and the MIDI captain. There's also a controller for the Jamman Solo HD to change loops, stop, and tap tempo on the floor. But the pedal order is Empress compressor, Future Impact, MXR bass synth over to the POG 3, out of stereo from the rest of the signal chain. Here's stereo from POG 3 to Enzo X, down to the stereo pair of Tone X1s, then the Mercury X to the Jamman Solo, out to a canvas line isolator. So So you get plenty of options with this thing. If I wanted to beef that sound up, just let's bring this down. So, I mean, how much more versatility you need in a synth pedal? And mind you, this is just the mono mode stuff. We haven't even gotten to a lot of the other sounds you can do. Again, like strings, brass, like, you know, piano-esque toy box type sounds, music box type sounds. Of course, amazing pads, you know, showed you the clavy right there, little preset. So there's a ton you can do with it. Designing, heard a little bit of trumpet type sound in the intro, and then we also heard another synth solo patch there in the intro as well. So the thing, this thing is essentially can be the only synth that you really need. You know what I'm saying? That's got a line bottom. Let's put that there. Let's bring some volume down here. Giant loud. No. So it's the work you can do on this joint is crazy. Appreciate that. Does it track polyphonically on bass? Yes, it does. Yes, and it's way better than the C4 synth. As you can see, I have a C4 synth here. And I do have some sounds that I like on there, but this is not really going to be able to do really much that this can't do, or that you would need this to do. Yes, this does have 4 oscillators, but most sounds you're not using 4 oscillators. And to be honest, it's just a better unit. It just sounds better. It's better tracking. It's better functionality. So yes, it does cost more, but you know, the MXR bass synth is $289. This is the Future Impact is $350. This is $600. So I don't see the problem there. But this is also a multi-effects unit. Like, I actually use this, all the modulations, filters, everything in here. And the filters sound better than the C4 synth filters. Even though the C4 synth has more filters, these sound better. So the chorus sounds better, the phasers, the flanger, the drives sound better. Everything just sounds better in there. And it has full MIDI in and out, of course, so you can play these same sounds. Let me turn it. It's already right there. Now this is a good time to bring the future impact into the mix, right? So I'm able to get very similar sounds. Now this future impact one is I was able to get that spot on, mind you. Let's see, what did I change the volume? And mind you, the future impact does have a EQ built into it, so that's, you know, some of the difference there. So if I was to do something like put this thicker EQ on, this is the Enzo X. That and so, you know, I do like the tracking on the Enzo X a little more now. You know, I mean, it tracks perfectly just about. Like, I really don't have any problem with the tracking. Like, the tracking polyphonic, monophonically for the octavers. Now, the polyphonic octaver does have a little bit of latency to it, but it is absolutely, it never glitches. You're not going to play nothing that's going to trick it or none of that. So, all right, back to here. So we'll go to the next patch. And I also got it set up so I can do an octave jump on there. And if I need to get that really tight, I'll use the foot switch for the Graviton M1. You know, you can do it. I can do it with either one. So. Yeah, so even little stuff like that, where I can make those octave jumps and be able to play similar stuff to what you can do on the keyboard. So if I, right now, right, if I hit that octave button, and I can actually do that octave jump with the pedal. I don't even have to play it like that. So, and thank you. I appreciate that. I love my setup too, man. It's amazing. I ain't gonna lie to you. Having these capabilities with MIDI and this small, this is a medium-sized board. So this is, from here to here is 12 inches. So, it's about, what is that, 18 inches. It's not a big board at all. And because this is separate. This is my studio board. This pretty much stays in the house at this point. When I need string sounds, or I do still love my Mel 9, Key 9, and my vocoder there the most. On this side of the board here. That big orange pedal this one is a vocoder pedal, but I don't use vocoder all the time. And just to have access to these sounds and being able to switch between MIDI and my actual bass with all these different sounds is just crazy. That's the crazy part. You could just go. And the other cool part I never really thought about is you can actually, that's crazy. So if, say like you were in the middle of a show and something happened with your bass, right? You can use the same exact sounds. The Future Impact has this ability too, but you can't switch back and forth automatically. I would have to hold down this power switch like this. I'll just do it real quick. It'll go to global. I have to press that. Then I got to make sure that this is in the right place, and then I can change it. Then press that, bam, and now you're back able to play. But when you could do it automatically, nobody has a chance to even miss it. That's crazy. That just makes your life so much easier. It just puts a smile on my face. Let me see what we got here. Yep, that definitely makes it a lot easier. Yep. And your presets and your buttons, it's having things on. Now, I can't stress how important it is to have your setup like easy for you to access different things. I'll show you some ways later on that I can access sounds, but these sounds, I just made all these last night. Let's do. Gotta keep that from going in and out of phase. I heard that. Eesh. That went out of phase somewhere. Oh, is that that's not the filter. What is that? It just makes it so easy. Oh, and it's got ring mod too. It's got ring mod. It's got bit crusher in there. You ain't even got to fake it. You ain't even got to. And, you know, of course, paired with the Meris X, this thing is daggone there. This here is, yeah, it's $1,200, but that is the best $1,200 you're going to spend on some pedals. I can guarantee that. But, man, the bass synth capabilities in here is always impressive. Oh my, come on. See, I just added a little bit of reverb there. I don't even have to add reverb here. I can do it on the actual Enzo X because it has filters, distortion, octavers, delay, reverb, and modulations. And you can assign them to, you know, I think it's you got two different LFOs, LFO A, LFO B. Then you got a sampling hole, which is a random generator. Then you get you can assign different parameters to the envelope of the sound, meaning like the same as an envelope filter. You know, that's why you can make an envelope filter with it, because you can assign, but you don't have to assign it to that parameter for the filter. You can assign it to the depth of a modulation or the speed of a modulation, you know, and it'll basically speed up and slow down based on your plane and your dynamics. And you got the whole, you can assign things to the whole modifier, which is why I'm able to make those octave jumps and things like that. Then you still have a 16-step sequencer in there. Then you can assign up to 6 parameters to the expression pedal. And not only that, you can do, you can even assign parameters to the aftertouch for the keyboard. If you have something like a Rolly MIDI controller, you know, you can really get expressive with it and all this extra stuff. Then, and not only that, you don't have to use them for those 6 parameters for the expression pedal. You can reassign those to any of the other modifiers. So if I wanted to use one of those slots to assign different parameters to an LFO A, so I can use the LFO A modifier slot, come over to the expression slot and assign up to 6 additional parameters to the same LFO. Or mix and match them to LFO A, LFO B, or the sampling hole. I can assign more parameters to the whole modifier, the envelope, whatever. That means you got endless possibilities in there, and that's what makes it insane. Yeah, the bells and whistles on it is insane. Like, and that's all in one unit. It also has my favorite reverb algorithm from the Meris X, which is the Prism. It has 3 versions of that: the small, medium, and large. The large being my favorite. Full stereo delay, just insane. And you can do FM sounds with it and pulse width modulation sounds like this. Listen how deep that is. Hey man, sheesh, that's fire. I mean, that's amazing. And to be honest with you, the the analog versus digital, nobody knows the difference. Nobody knows the difference. Like, and the digital stuff is so much better in terms of accuracy. You know what I'm saying? Like than the analog stuff is. It's ridiculous in terms of duplicating sounds, in terms of just typically, the analog stuff, I wouldn't even say it's warmer. It gets EQ slightly different. I can show you some very warm sounds with this unit. These are just my there's just certain things. I do love the analog stuff. That's actually, I learned a lot from guys that did a lot on the analog stuff. And I just kind of transferred it over to the digital realm. But I learned a lot from from the analog guys, you know what I'm saying? And even a lot of them are moving to digital now. It's kind of hard to carry around a room size synthesizer with you. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard. Yeah, the Mercury X is just the pedal, by the way. It's just the Meris Mercury X. It's this joint right here. But, I've done plenty of videos on the Mercury X as well, but it's got some tremendous sounds as well. But where we at? You just jump right back in there, back and forth, Get your really destructive sounds in there too. See what else we got. I got this one tuned to go down. And I can also set that time for that slide as well, for that whole modifier. Say I don't want it to slide so fast. I don't want it to change so fast. I can have it. So that's the crazy part. Which is crazy. So you got totally different stuff. Hey man, enjoy yourself. I appreciate the love and the support. Yeah, I don't know what Meris did in here, but I mean, of course, they're a high quality effects company in the first place. So, like, all the effects in there are high quality effects. It actually makes you want to get even more Meris pedals. You know, that's why I got the reverb, the Mercury X pedal, because just the reverb, the simple reverb algorithm they put in here, sounded better than all the stuff I had. And I was like, well, I might as well get, you know, I got the Mercury X, and I ain't even know I could do so much with a reverb pedal. It's a multi-effects as well, just like the Enzo XO. You got octavers in here. You got the same filters, but one different. They both have 3 filters, but one of them is different. This one has a twin filter. This one has a parametric EQ filter, and it also has a ladder and a state filter, which are negative 20 dB and 12, negative 12. Same thing here, but with the twin filter instead of the parametric EQ. And then you get a different set of modulations, same drives, but you get different. You get a what is it called? A dynamic section in there, full stereo compressor. You know, and then you got the compressor link where you can compress each side separately. So depending on, it won't just compress it all together. It'll actually compress each side differently with different ratios and everything. Then you have the same with the limiter and the limiter link in there. You also have the same modifiers and expression pedals options. Then you got the pre-delay section too, which is amazing to say the least. You know, because it's pretty much a delay section, and you can put any of those effects anywhere in the chain, before the delays, after delays, only on the delay, right before the reverb in the pre-tank, or you can put it after the reverb. You can just do stuff anywhere. You can put it on the dry signal and the wet signal, or only the dry signal. It's just insane, the routing. And you got stereo in and out on both of these. So, all right, that's demonstrated. Yeah, hi-hat on you. And actually have this set up. And you can do the top tempo if I needed to go faster. If I needed to go slower. And so you know, that delay is coming. It has a full stereo delay in the Enzo X. That the gated reverb is coming from the Mercury X. Now you also got the snare. Now nice electronic type snare. Got a kick. Nice club style kick. And all this can be created because this is a full feature synthesizer. You know, I know we've heard a lot about the MXR bass synth, and I do like it a lot. It's a great, for me, lo-fi bass synth. I look at it like this. This is my lo-fi bass synth pedal. If I want like something that's sounds more, just no offense to MXR, but more like a toy, I'm a and I want something lo-fi-ish, I'm gonna go with a MXR bass synth. If I want something that is more Moog and ARP 2600, I'm going with the Future Impact V4 VIP. If I want just an amazing modern synth and something that can do sounds like a CS80 can do, I'm a go for the Enzo X. As well as if I only had one pedal here, like to take to a gig and do the entire gig by myself covering all the parts in a looper, it's going to be the Enzo X, because I can do enough with that to pretty much do everything. As you can saw, as I showed you earlier, you got octaves in there, drives, filters, everything. So, all right, polyphonic time. Let's go ahead and get into some of these other sounds too. Start getting into these pads. So even in with chords and different things, it tracks very well. as you can hear, some effects are on my bass, some effects are on the actual sound without the Mercury X. So what I did there is I went and turned up the noise gate, the global noise gate. And what that does is, I believe the noise gate runs before the tracking, if I'm not mistaken. But it is an always on noise gate. So even when the pedal's off, it just helps keep your pedal board quiet. As you can hear, I got that thing on 64%. But when I go to play, the sound is just there. You don't even notice it for real. So that helps your tracking, especially in polyphonic mode. I don't know why I keep saying it like that. Polyphonic mode. You also have an arpeggiator on here as well, so you can do cool things like just ridiculous stuff. Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, it's pretty low noise. Yeah, it's really compressed just when I'm using the Enzo X, just because I like it that it's not even really compressed. It's super compressed. I'm just pushing into the compressor a lot. Like when I'm using the Enzo X, it just works better for me that way, even though I only have it set to a 2-to-1 ratio here with a long attack and short release. So yeah, I do a lot of little stuff. If you find me on Instagram, I'm going to start doing a lot of little collaborations with different folks, and it's not about how big or small the channel is. It's just people that want to like-minded people that want to work together. It's hard. You'd be surprised how hard it is to find people that want to work together and actually get something done productively, not just, hey, let's hang out and let's get something done. Let's get some work done. How about that? Been doing music a long time and, been doing it for a living for a long time. So I like to get stuff done. It's the only way I've been able to stay in business. You know what I'm saying? Is getting stuff done. But I'm always looking for new people to work with. If you find me, it's at the Bass Negus, Negus, on all social media platforms. So you want to find me. But all right, back to it. So you got your arpeggiator, you got brass sounds, right? That's if I want a more mellow sound. Then I can also come down here, hit the wrong switch. Just go straight brass. And this is like a synthy brass. It's not. I'm not trying to get exactly a brass sound, because I actually like to have these different synthy types textures in there, just so it's not just everything sounds super orchestral. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I do love how like these strings, nice synth strings, and all this is stuff I created on the Enzo X, and it's going to be in the updated Enzo X pack. So if you want access to these sounds, they're going to be in the Enzo X pack. I can even change this. Come on now. And I can hold that. I'm actually freezing that with the Mercury X. So I have the whole preset set up between the Enzo X and the Mercury X to where I can freeze that, still glissando. So just complete flexibility with the foot switches, and the MIDI incorporated into the rig. So underneath the rig is a CME H4 MIDI Pro, which is coming out the side here. And it also has Bluetooth MIDI. So like the MIDI captain is wirelessly connected to the the pedal board. I used to have the Graviton M1 wirelessly connected and the MIDI controller wirelessly connected, but for different reasons, for recording purposes, I just want to do that. But when I want to run to my computer, I also have this CME H2 MIDI Pro, which is a smaller version of what I have underneath the board. So essentially, underneath the board, it's like this coming out the side here. And what that pretty much allows me to do is I can route MIDI in different ways, or I can filter out certain signals from certain devices. Like say I don't want CC messages from this MIDI controller, going to the Enzo X, for instance. I can filter out just the CC messages and still allow the note, the ability to play the keyboard. And that's very useful for when you have multiple devices on one channel that you want to play at once. You can filter out certain things and only have it control the filter of the Enzo X and not control the filter of the Pog 3, things like that. Just really easy stuff. Now, I also have used these little devices here. The H4 MIDI Pro you have to buy an extra chip that you put in there that makes it wireless in addition to the ports, and it also has 4 of these 5-pin MIDI ports here. It also supports up to 8 USB MIDI devices, and it can power them if you use an actual 9-volt 500 milliamp power supply. USB-C, it can be powered through USB-C, but you can't power other devices when you do that. So a lot of little cool stuff with that. Now, this WIDI Master actually allows me to have wireless MIDI across the room if I wanted to. Say I have a motif across the room, right? In fact, I'll demonstrate it real quick. And so all I got to do is have this little device plugged into that motif across the room, and I can now access the sounds. coming out of one channel. Oh, probably have it panned or something. Nope. Give me 1 second. So essentially, I have that ability. What you're hearing now is the actual motif. So I can combine that. I can take my iPad. Say I want to run EP and piano. I like this Neo Soul app, right? So I can come on here, bam, and I have the iPad connected to what is this? A X-Tone Pro audio interface, which has pretty much is an audio interface with MIDI in and out. And it also has 6 foot switches you can assign to different parameters in, whatever device you have it attached to. So, if I come over here and then I have an headphone out from that audio interface running stereo to the Jam Man Solo in case I want to add EP. So that EP sound. This EP sound and I even have it so when I turn on the Enzo X, this is why the Enzo X is so amazing. And using MIDI in your setup is insane. Because now I can do things like play the Enzo X, have the Enzo X and everything over here running its own separate, effects chain or whatever I want to do over here. That comes into the Jam Man Solo stereo here, while the EP is coming in stereo here. And the motif is actually running into the mixer that you're listening to everything through. So I only have, for the EP and this pedal board, I only have just have the stereo XLRs running from the Canvas line isolator here. Right? And not only that, but this MIDI controller, and I can pretty much run all this MIDI controller and all these pedals and the iPad all on one plug from the Canvas Power 15, which is underneath. So that gives me a ton of flexibility there. Really, the iPad will run on its own battery as long as I have it on 100%. It'll hold up for hours, 4, 5, 6 hours. But while I have all that, I still have the sustain pedal triggered by the same foot switch as the hold modifier here and the expression pedal input from the Enzo X. So and then I can still hit that hold modifier button separately, and all this is through the foot switch. So I'm hitting this button through MIDI. So right now I'm hitting this hold modifier button, the expression pedal from here. I'm hitting this hold modifier button and the sustain pedal from the Mercury X. From the iPad. I don't know why I said that. Then what I can do is I can still have that motif back there. So I got all this layer of sound. In the sustain pedal function, I have also routing to the motif as well. So all that one foot switch is triggering expression pedal, hold modifier, sustain pedal, and sustain pedal over there. And the motif is connected wirelessly with one of these. So it's not like I have to run a MIDI cable from across the room. It's literally on the opposite side of the room over here. My pedal board's over here. So triggering stuff. If I want to do I have a separate one for if I want to do the sustain pedal by itself. Because if I hit this other one, it's also going to trigger this hold modifier freeze. Which is different than just the regular sustain by itself. See, this is just options you have to have set up before. This is not stuff you want to do during the show or be worrying about during the show. You want to have it set up at home so you can practice with it. It takes a lot of time to, gather all these different commands, and, you got to go through each manual. Like I've gone through every manual of every pedal and, on here. And I mean, all of them. And it's not even all the pedals I own. Every pedal I've ever owned, I've gone through the entire manual. That's why I know how to work stuff so well. I just read through the manual. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to use no valuable time. Just instead of scrolling when you're on the toilet or something, go and pick up the manual. Always have a curious mind. Well, what is that parameter that I saw that I don't know what it does? What does it actually do? Hey, that's how you figure it out. But I can even play strings with my bass. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. That's sickening. And so one of my other favorite patches I've created is, let me mute this. This joint right here is stupidity. Woo! First of all, let's hear that joint by itself. Let's give it its credit by itself. I always wanted this sound. This, you know how expensive of a keyboard or a synthesizer to get that? How? it's just stupid stuff you could do with this joint. Like, and thank you. I appreciate that a lot, man. It took a long time to get these patches together like this. And that's just me being transparent. And that's not because of the device is difficult. It's because I had a learning curve to do when it came to synth. Like, yes, I knew I've known how to get a million and one sounds out of a bass and effects, right? You know, I can pretty much get a lot of sounds I can't get with these synthesizers with effects in my bass, just because it's a different thing, right? But the sounds I'm getting with this, that's something that takes some time to learn how to use a synthesizer inside and out. Like, really understand what the oscillators are, what they sound like, what, you know, oscillator width is, and what it's doing to your sound, what X mod or, you know, FM type sounds is doing. You know, in here it's a parameter called X mod, that lets you get more FM type sounds. And then you also have to understand envelopes inside and out for a filter and for the amplitude of the sound, which is just pretty much the amplitude envelope is just the shape of the that you want the oscillator to be. So then from there, you know, and one huge thing that I had to learn, turn every damn thing off. Turn everything off. Start from just the oscillators. Turn everything off. Turn off the modulations, turn off the ambience, delay and reverb, you know, turn off the drive, turn off the, you know, open the filter all the way up, turn the resonance all the way down, and just hear the oscillators and get that oscillator to be beefy and sound good by itself, and then start to shape it with the filter. But I think if you try to do too much at one time, that's what I would try to do at first, you know, and I did get some great sounds. But, you know, in order to be intentional, you got to really know what the parameters are. Just the same way I'm intentional the way I set up my compressor or the way I set up my preamps, EQs, everything, you know, is intentional. It's not on accident. So, all right, another one. So I can make key, you know, piano-esque sound. And I actually like, I like the fact that these are kind of unique, so I don't just be using the same EP sound all the time. You know, you can still layer stuff. Start combining effects like freeze. And you start controlling that. I like controlling the glissando more than just having it on all the time, you know, where every single note is glissando. You can do that on here. It does have glide. But I like it, especially for when you want to do a nice little pause or something, or I do a freeze. So stuff like that, where it just like that additional slide in there. So definitely makes a huge difference. Yeah, you know, definitely definitely has that vintage 8-bit like carnival type vibes. Especially with a sound like this, because it really like shimmers up top. So, you know. And that's the other cool thing. The Mercury X Freeze, if you don't do it correctly, it does little stuff like this instead, which I actually love. I can increase that mix. So, you know, I got all types of little piano-esque sounds. Still got this beautiful synth pads, which go perfectly under, you know, piano. See how that pad just has that bottom, just came down, swooped up from West Jablip. Swooped up from West Jablip down to saying come on now. Come on now. A $15 app with a $20 altogether with the piano sounds. They sold the piano sounds separately. I paid $20 for that app on my iPad. That joint sound for $20? Now, and to be able to combine that with the Enzo X and the Mercury X, like all that extra stereo, like imaging in there and things floating around, sound by itself. Mind you, the Neo Soul app itself has an effects rack, so I get to have a whole different effects chain for piano and EP. So it does have its own reverb in there, as you can hear, and their reverb is pretty good. That is a pretty good reverb for a $20 app. Let's go. Yeah, it's definitely worth owning. And I also have the $20 mixer app. What is this? The AUM mixer app. I use that as well, and that allows me to have. So hopefully that's visible, but I pretty much can mute or unmute. I can run both sounds. And allows me to run 2 instances of that app, because if you just have the app by itself, you can't play the piano and EP sounds together. If you get this mixer app, now you got like a full keyboard type setup, because I can run in that audio interface, I can also run a digital effects rig in bias effects, or I can run bias effects into amplitude, or I can run bias effects into Tonex and then into amplitude, something you can't do with the app separate. So definitely a nice little app. And I don't have no expensive iPad. It's like a $250 iPad. But when you add that with the make it real common. So, I mean, what else do you need from a pedal? From a pedal? Are you serious? Are you serious? Just ridiculous stuff. So you got your pads, all that different type of stuff. Even got like a cathedral organ type of sound. It's not exact now. Don't kill me. See, that's the sunset. Beautiful pads. And it's up to 6 notes at a time. This beautiful arpeggiator. Where is it? It's like a fantasy pipe organ. So I like little weird sounds like that. I don't always want to go with an EP or piano sound. That gets boring. Like, I want to hear something else, and I want to hear it in something else other than an EDM context. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear some different stuff. Start incorporating these sounds. You know, I do it in Fusion already, but you know, I want to see these incorporated even into like classical and different things like that. Because these are the reason I love the Enzo X so much, because it definitely is its own instrument. It's not what you think it is. It's its own instrument that you would need to spend time. And I'm sure over the years, after I really truly master it in another year or so, you know, and due to my knowledge and synth, it's not the pedal. Again, pedal's easy to do. If I want to assign something, I can just scroll to the modifier and then turn it to the parameter and then adjust the parameters of the modifier to do whatever I needed to do. So I can't think of anything, you know, other than pitch detection for the filter maybe pitch detecting for the filter, and I want a smaller glide time for the glissando, for the automatic glissando. I just need a smaller time for that, and or shorter times for that glissando, so it's I can do some bass some stuff, and then the unit is literally perfect. Like, sure, they can over time maybe improve the tracking. You know, some people gripe about using the app. They gotta get everybody doesn't always have a MIDI interface for the computer, so only way you can edit the Enzo X is through the 5-pin MIDI ports. That's how you back up your presets, and also if you want to edit in the computer on the Predator app, you would need a MIDI interface. So definitely pay attention to that. Another piano type sound. But yeah, you got tons of options with this thing, man. Lead sounds. Dude. What's going on, folks? Appreciate you stopping by. 88. Yeah, you know, I don't. This is my main rig now. Anyway, this is just the studio stuff I use if I need it, you know. But this is my main rig that I take to gigs, and you know, this is not that big, you know. Even my arm, from my wrist to my elbow is exactly 12 inches. So, you know, which is weird that it's exactly 12 inches, but you know, I learned a long time ago from building stuff with my dad and building stuff by myself. You know, it's good to just know how long from here to here is. Trust me, it'll help you out in various situations. But and knowing how long your feet are. Your foot is the same size as this. You don't believe me? Take off your shoe and put it right here. You don't believe it? I was surprised too. You know, I wear a size 12 and it's exactly this length. But all right, or normal people. Everybody not normal. Some people got long arms, short arms, but most people generally, yeah. Yeah, you know, I get rid of pedals, and I buy used pedals, and I get rid of old pedals as well, pedals I'm not using. Like this Spectrum, somebody just bought this Spectrum, going to ship that out, and somebody just bought the TC Electronic Spectra Comp from me, so you're going to get that stuff out. Oh yeah, he's Lizzie. I hope you don't call me. I'm gonna call you Lizzie. I hope that's cool. Elizabeth, that's actually my mother's middle name. But yeah, he 88 been, you know, follow all my stuff, and I appreciate it a lot. Thank you for the Patreon supporters, the YouTube supporters, you know, anybody watching that's taking the time to hang out with me. Thank you for doing so. So, and all right, so you got all types of, and again, I didn't have to press anything to switch between that stuff. You know, I'm getting so spoiled now. I prefer not even to do it, like turning the individual presets, just because I have presets on here that accompany these. You know what I'm saying? Like combinations of things. So, see. It even tracks the string bends. So I even got like a cross between a synth and a guitar lead right there. Hey, you know, I appreciate that. I always appreciate y'all, man. Y'all always show love, man. I appreciate that a lot. But yeah, so you just got sounds on sounds in here. And then when you organize them into presets like this on something like a Graviton M1, the Graviton M1 only $150, right? That's the best deal you're gonna get on something like this. This thing's $150. The screen replacement's $20. You can just screw these 4 screws off and replace the screen yourself. So, you know, I have mine ducked underneath a few things, so you would have to really punch the middle of my board in order to get to it, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's been a just amazing piece of gear. But when you have that, you know, that instantly allows you freedom. Because I'm go from that to got all my sounds just available in the touch screen or foot switch. I even have it set up to, if I want to do organ on the Pog 3, all of my pedals work together as well. And this Leslie sound is actually the Mercury X. The tremolo in there, I have it set to the hold modifier, and then I just have it set to ramp up instead of just going straight on. So give me a few seconds, guys. I need to go check something real quick, and I will be right back. Let me see some. And we're back. Wow. So appreciate y'all. So, you know, one of the biggest things I found with synths, even with the Future Impact, because you got a million and one options in there. I'm going to do some more on the Future Impact as well as soon as the new update, firmware update comes out, which allows you to actually use the actual files from the DX7, Yamaha DX7 keyboard. You're going to have the actual sound engine and every capabilities. You're going to have two different sound engines essentially in the Future Impact. The current one and then the new firmware update is going to supposed to be improving the tracking and adding that extra DX7 functionality, which is crazy. So this definitely, synth has its own thing. So even now, I'll give you some examples, some things that'll help you out with some synths real quick, synth sounds. The reason why you don't need to have like a whole bunch of controls on the Future Impact is because, one, like I said, you should not be building synths on stage. Two, you should also be only really messing with the filter for the most part, not really the oscillators too much. That's the only thing that I could see me doing on stage, and that's mostly just the filter cutoff, just creating some sweeps and different things. But you can control, if you need to control anything else other than that, then you need to use MIDI to assign that to a CC message on a foot switch or an expression pedal. That would be the best way to do that. So, for instance, what else I got on here? Let's go. Right, that's a nice little Michael Jackson bass, whatever. So just with the filter cutoff, now you're gonna have a whole different sound. Right, and changing the filter envelope amount, right? Or in this case, envelope depth. You can bring that down. Just so it doesn't interact or like go beyond the filter cutoff so much. So now if I bring that filter cutoff back down, I'm gonna have a much darker sound. Right? Say I wanted that to be a little bit more along the lines of my dynamics. You want to use your dynamics a little more. You just increase that dynamics parameter. So instead of it being all robotic, now you can now say you wanted it to that attack to be quicker. Or the attack to increase. So now you're gonna hit this filter. Open and close a little slower. Let's exaggerate it a bit. So just adjusting the, this is all the same patch that, this is the same exact oscillator setup as the Michael Jackson Thriller sound. It's just manipulating the filter. It's going to make a huge difference. Right? And I can also add more resonance. Add more resonance. I wouldn't recommend adding too much resonance. You know, you can take some away. It just becomes a much bigger sound. Let's see if it lets me add some. See, because I don't have any into the patch already, I have the dry bass all the way out, so it won't let me control the balance between them. But if I had the some of my dry sound coming through the patch, the preset, it would allow me to change the balance there. But yeah, those are the only real parameters you would need, you know what I'm saying, to create some cool stuff on stage. And by the way, the Future Impact also has a sustain function, and the same sustain pedals, the same foot switch I'm using to sustain all the other stuff, I can use it to do the Future Impact. So now I can do. Now if you try to play, it's just gonna stay on that one note, no matter what note I play. Right? Just holding it. But if I had my dry signal, I could hold that and play the sound. Let me go to something with my dry signal in there. This should allow me to do it. Oh, all that stuff? Okay. Well, all that's considered the wet signal, I'm guessing. And that's an example of the synth, the octavers, because that's an octave up in there with some distortion on it, running in there as well. All that's working together. And I can always come over here, mess with the filter cutoff. So you can definitely do like just ridiculous stuff with these units, and you can do things like that with the of course with the well, I'm trying to think, can you do the octave pedal and the synth? No, you can't do the octave pedal and the synth. That's something that the Future Impact can actually do that the Enzo X can't. It can play, you can use that harmony block, which gives you up to three part harmony. Let me see, you get an octave up and then you get two more. Yeah, so really you can have up to 4-part harmony in there. You'll have your dry signal, that's one note. You automatically get a slider with an octave up, and then you get 2 sliders that you can choose between different intervals. So that definitely, the Future, on top of having the 4 oscillators running at once and all that running through the filters and the EQ and chorus, overdrive, things like that in there. So, you know, that's definitely, that sound is definitely rock. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So it's just so many options with these types of pedals that people don't really talk about. You know, that's why when it comes to the bass synth stuff, don't ask me about the MXR bass synth versus these two, because that is a ridiculous comparison. And you can easily do a little bit of research on my channel or anybody else's that has interacted with this pedal versus this one. Now, I find a lot of people don't know how to get this to track well. A little bit of compression. You need to have this input level set right, and you need this note off and note on level to be set correctly. Then you need to have your bass EQ'd a certain way, you know, the same way you would have any other octave or track. You know, same thing that's going to allow me to track here is going to allow me to track here. Same thing here as well. Why did I have it on that one? Same thing with the Future Impact. I mean, same thing. So, you know, they pretty much, I like to use the Future Impact for sure for bass synths primarily. You know, it has a real analog vintage sound to it. So you could just, he just right there, just in the vintage bass synth territory immediately when you turn it on. You know, like I said, I really do like this, this patch on the, this is why I said, like, they're just 2 different bass synths. Like, this is the more vintage, this is like more modern bass synth. Look how clean that is. Let's go ahead and say that right there. just nasty. It just that's just gritty. Just another nasty. So, but the main reason I said I would take, if I only had one synth, what's going on, Laurie? Appreciate you stopping by as usual. One of my longtime supporters. Definitely appreciate you stopping past. But one of the only one that can do everything, a combination of what all the other pedals can do, is the Enzo X. It also has a compressor and stuff in there as well. Ability to pan things back and forth. Has a built, volume pedal and all that stuff. The possibilities are pretty much endless. So definitely, when you get a chance, check out that Enzo X, man. It's gonna upgrade your whole setup, and it's not just synths. It's gonna be all the effects in there. You are usable on bass, so you ain't got to even worry about that. You know what I'm saying? You can go ahead and play some bass with it. Beautiful chorus. Let's see what we in. Right? Beautiful envelope filter. Flanger. So just immediately available to you. Phaser, beautiful. This is my favorite chorus in phaser and flanger, to be honest with you. And it's not just because of these particular settings, it's because I can do a lot more with those as well. I can make those dynamic flanger or dynamic chorus, dynamic phaser by attaching the depth or something to the modifiers, so I can make it an envelope flanger, or I can assign additional LFO to any parameter that those modulations have, and do additional modulating, and I can assign, a sequencer to it. I can assign that random filter, have it doing random stuff, Not only that, but then you get stuff like the ring modulator. My favorite ring modulator ever. So musical. And that's triggered by the envelope. So every time I play a note, so just stupid stuff like that would be hard to do even with some dedicated ring modulator pedals. And I can do that with bit crushing as well, as bit crusher in there. Like, just ridiculous stuff. Just ridiculous stuff. Some of the other stuff we got in here. A little twin filter. I think I had twin filter on 99. Sorry, I don't know why my bass is so loud today. So not only can I get like that bass balls type of sound without being overbearing sometimes, that like I found with the bass balls, I can only have it on a very particular type of setting in a very specific spot, and I couldn't really do much else with it. This, I have the twin filter sweeping, you know what I'm saying, with an LFO and reacting to the envelope. So, you know, it just slightly, you know, just perks up when I'm actually playing versus when I'm just holding a note, you know. But you can hear that LFO sweeping. So that's the difference. And that's something that you can just do. I don't need to go and select a different, you know, filter effect, you know, like go through a bunch of different filters trying to get to that sound. To be honest, man, you only need a couple filters, man. That negative 24 dB, negative 12, the twin filter in there, that's all you really need, right? That's all you really need. But I understand different people like different things, but I can tell you now, I've been able to get close to an MXR bass envelope filter with that filter. For real, I feel like all the other filters are trying to be what this filter is, what those filters are, to be honest. Even effects like I love my electro-harmonics blush, right? And it is an amazingly warm analog filter. But it don't cut in a show. It don't come through well in the mix of stuff. So it's like all that extra. One thing I do love about these filters, they cut, and I can get them just as warm as that blurst filter. But I can't get that blurst filter to cut the same way I can get this filter to cut. So, you know, that's things to pay attention to, guys and gals, you know, ladies as well. You know, pay attention to like the quality of the effects, not the quantity of effects. Because if I was looking at quantity, you know, there's a ton of pedals that have more names of effects, but all they are is just different variations of this. You're building those same things. Because guess what? A chorus is still a chorus, right? I don't think you understand what a chorus is. Like, chorus has to be a certain sound. Just like detune has to be a certain sound. Phaser has to be somewhat of a certain sound. So does flanger. Now, there's a range of things you can do with those sounds, but ultimately, all of them are built out of delay. You know, filters, modulations, pitch shifting, like all that stuff is delay. Pretty much the majority of effects are delay. Even reverb is delay, just sped up. So, or not even sped, like the time between delays sped up really fast, and that's how you get the sound of the room. So, you know, it definitely, it depends on what you got going, but I would say when you looking at effects pedals, especially something like an Enzo X with a nice price tag on it, the functionality, the things it can do, is you will spend a few $1,000s trying to get to that. You know what I'm saying? You would spend a few $1,000s trying to get to those effects, that quality of effects, and the functionality of effects in there as well. So, you know, the MXR bass synth, this is a nice little pedal. I told you, I get some nice sounds out of anything. Anything you give me, just what I tell people is stop trying to look at the pedal, blame the pedals, and try to actually use it for what it is. Stop trying to always duplicate sounds. If you can do it, fine. If you can't, it's not the end of the world. When I found out I couldn't duplicate sounds the way I wanted to with the MXR bass synth, guess what I started doing? Just creating sounds I wanted to hear. What can it do? If it can't do that, what can it do? Now, this is as close as I've been able to get to Thriller with this pedal. Now, let's bring this back on. Now, you know, you can get some sweet like octave sounds out of it. Let me see. So you can get some nice stuff out the MXR bass synth. You know what I'm saying? Don't sleep. See what I'm saying by like a low-fi synth compared to the, you know, the Future Impact. It's like it's not the same thing. Just not the same thing. So, like even when you come over here, so even the Enzo X is definitely going to beat it as a bass synth pedal as well overall. I can even change the waveform of that LFO as well. So it doesn't have to be that sine wave either. This is how detailed you can get. Not only can you assign it to an LFO, You can change the shape, step up, step down. Just ramp up, ramp down. Right versus up. Triangle. Sine wave. So you have all these different options of even the waveforms on the modifier, LFO modifiers and things like that. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So, if you got the money, if you feel up to it, if you already was going to get an MXR bass synth or something like that, you might as well save a little bit more, come up to the Future Impact at least. And if you want something that can cover just, like all your production needs, like, all your synth needs, the Enzo X is going to allow you to do that. Future Impact's going to give you all your vintage bass synths, and like I said, MXR and C4 synth, I consider those like lo-fi synths. These two, the C4 synth and the MXR bass synth, cannot replace a Keybase rig. Future Impact by itself can replace a Keybase rig, and so can the Enzo X. And the Enzo X is still going to have all those other sounds that you can create and do things with. So take all that into consideration. Things like the harmony block is always available to you on the Future Impact. Let me grab something real quick. I don't want this thing to cut off on me. Don't you know it? But, various little things like that. So, all right, guys. Make sure you just take the time to explore each pedal for what it is. And, pedals like the C4 synth, MXR bass synth, use them for what they are and what they can do, not trying to duplicate stuff. And I think you will have a much better time. And things like the Future Impact definitely can duplicate plenty of those vintage bass synth sounds, while the Enzo X will get you close, but all those sounds are much more modern sounding when you create them on the Enzo X. So I'm sure if I played it, once I get to know a little better, I'm sure I might be able to get exactly into the same exact territory as the Future Impact V4 VIP. But, neither one of them, both of them at the top of their class in their respective areas. So both of them are worth having, just like the Enzo X and the Mercury X are worth having, along with the POG 3. Since that firmware update, everything's been amazing with it. Great octave sound, of course. Just massive. Woo. Tracking is amazing. So it tracks all the way up and down very well. And if say I didn't want that doesn't have to have that little spread, that's the effect from it. If I wanted more of a traditional octave sound. If I wanted like that bigger. So yeah, check out all some pedals cost a lot for a reason, in my opinion, and some pedals cost a lot just because of a name. So if you see it make it on, especially to the smaller board, you know that's a concrete pedal. Anything you see up here that's a staple, that V256, the Key 9, Mel 9, the Deep Freeze, all these are super solid pedals. Even things like the Atlas compressor. Atlas compressor is a mean compressor. Like, for it to be so old, like 10 years old, they jam packed so much compression that was modeled in there very well, extremely well. So, excuse me. Like, I prefer the Atlas compressor over using plugins and things like that, especially for stereo stuff. Like, I'll probably run the keys through it because I don't really need it right here. Run the motif through there to get some compression and saturation on some of those sounds with the LA2A. You know what I'm saying? Run an 1176 into a LA2A for saturation and then rock out from there. But all right, guys, this has been another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, make sure you hit the hype button, the reactions, the notifications, all that type of stuff. I go live quite a few times a week, and I put out clips all the time. So even if you don't catch the live stream, if you want to catch some little pearls of knowledge on effects in bass, and bass synth and synth in general at this point, make sure you subscribe and check out my Patreon page for all my presets for the various pedals that you see here and some that you don't. Like, I have preset packs for the Zoom B6, MS70 CDR Plus, as well as these MS60B Plus. I have preset packs for the C4 synth, Future Impact V4 and the V4 VIP, as well as the Enzo X, Mercury X, and over 20 different bass preamps and bass head packs for the Tonex 1 and Tonex pedals, along with the software. And some of those are combination packs of things like the Colorbox V2 running into an Ampeg SGT, or Colorbox running into a Gensben Shuttle 9.0 tube head. So I have some combination packs with the Colorbox as well in there, as well as a separate Colorbox pack itself. So all that's on the Patreon, and we got different heads on there. The Lil Mark III, you got what else? Gensler Magellan is on there. Aguilar AG preamp, the Harkey TX600. All these different preamps are available to you on the Patreon. So make sure you go over there. And if you want to support the channel for $1, $5 every month, you can do that on YouTube as a member, or you can do that on Patreon. And, we will start doing member exclusive stuff. I'm also releasing a course on bass improvisation and bass technique, 2 separate courses. So, the improvisation course will apply to any and every instrument, while of course, the bass technique course will be focusing on bass specific techniques, slapping, tapping, 2-hand tapping, all that good stuff. Playing multiple parts at once. We're going to be going over everything. So make sure you check all that stuff out on my Patreon. And you can sign up as a free member if you just want to keep up, know when I have shows. I'm going to start listing when I start doing my shows again. I've been doing a lot of private events because they just are easier and they pay. You know what I'm saying? But I am going to start doing some more public shows again. Hopefully getting around to some of these different cities, seeing you guys. So make sure you keep up with on me on all social media at the Bass Negus, Negus. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you stay out of trouble, and make sure you get some practice in, and make sure you get some experimenting with some sounds. And that's part of practicing too. Anything to keep the instrument in your hand or under your fingertips, do it, and that's going to help you ultimately grow as a musician. And it's ultimately going to help you grow as a person as you learn how to express